Hi, everybody. We're kind of taking a look at ourselves in the mirror here. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and welcome to our merry gang of beautiful women. Let us say hello to our friend comedian extraordinaire, one of my favorite, absolutely favorite people in the whole wide world. I don't say that to many people, Dom. Trust me when I tell you that. Hey,
I
Dominique.
believe it, Steve. Hey, Steve. I know, Steve. I already know that means something coming from Stevie.
Yeah,
Steve.
yeah.
Coy, what's going on, young Coy?
Hey Dominique, how you doing? Hey Sybil, how you doing?
Hey, Coy, how are you?
Whew, it's a whirlwind, but I'm getting through it.
So what does that mean? What does that look like for you? Because Dominic, I think you've been here and you perhaps have seen as we have been going through Coy's adventures in adulting,
Mm-hmm.
becoming the adult that her age requires her to be, but also that circumstances are calling upon her to be. And so, Coy, what's the latest in your adulting handbook?
Well, you gotta keep going no matter how tough things get. There are gonna be obstacles and monkey wrenches thrown in the plan, and you're gonna get totally sidetracked by, other components or people that are involved that can pull out at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to find a way to keep moving. It might not be comfortable, and it might not be what you want or even what you need at the time, but it's a part of being an adult. A part of being an adult is figuring things out without quitting. That's the
Mm.
number one thing that I'm learning within the last couple of weeks. No matter how tough things get, no matter how hard things get, whether you're by yourself, you're with a partner, you're married, whatever, don't quit when things get tough. Run towards the problem, not away from it.
Because when the going gets tough,
The tough get going.
Absolutely.
there
Yeah.
you go. There you go.
That was
Uh,
good, Coy. That was
and
really
it's
good.
and trust Coy, the earlier you learn the lesson, the better.
Yeah.
The
And it's
quicker
something
you
that
yeah.
but you get reminders
Yeah,
as you get older in different phases and different parts of your life. And when you introduce, new components and people and relationships and stuff like that, you just learn that saying is tried and true. Run
yeah,
towards your problems, don't run away from them.
yeah, yeah. Your father, the was your dad a Marine?
He was in the Navy
He was a
and Air
Navy man.
Force. Yeah.
Okay, so he would be very proud of you hearing you say that because it sounds like something a dad would tell his daughter too, and in some cases, moms would tell their children. But run towards the problem, don't run away from it because that's not going to get you anywhere, and it only makes you stronger. It really does.
Definitely. And he
Yeah.
did that even when, my parents had problems down the line. He ran towards the problem. He didn't run away from it. He tried every
Because they
solution to
don't
fix
go
whatever.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
If you run the opposite direction, they remain. They don't just like disappear.
Right. They're
Oh,
like,
they
So
show up somewhere
oh,
else.
she's gone, and
yeah,
no,
Yeah.
no, they're
They
gonna come
they just
back.
show up somewhere else. So,
Yeah, in some
absolutely.
other form. You're right. Dominique, how are you?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. I'm
You
blessed.
headed out on tour.
I'm headed on tour, Sid. This weekend coming up, I'm going to Baltimore. I'll be at Royal Farms Arena.
Nice.
Uh, Mike
With a
Epps.
with a great group of guys, right?
Yes, Mike Epps, Henry Welch, Tony Rock, and our young gun, Desi Banks. And then on Thanksgiving weekend, I'll be in Memphis at Chuckles Comedy House.
Ooh, that's gonna be good eating.
Yeah, that's gonna be good eating 26th to the 28th. And then no December the 4th through the 5th, I'll be in Cleveland at my good friend Silk. He has a
Oh,
club,
Sam Silk,
Sam
yeah.
Silks. So I'll be at Silks and we're gonna laugh and we're gonna have dinner there and then I'll be off I'll do some work here in LA and then I'll power down for the Christmas holiday. And then in January I hit the ground running. I know the first one of the dates in January is January the 15th in Philadelphia at the Leacourt Center.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
We've
The Lea
we've been there. Yeah, we've done
we
this.
we went
Mm-hmm.
take a loved one to the doctor,
Yep.
right? Okay,
Remember
okay.
that? Yep.
Yes, the Leacourt Center, Gary Owens, Mike Epps, Desi Banks, and I think I'm forgetting one person.
That's okay. You got a lot going on. So we will remind people of the dates that you have coming up, and of course, Coy, when you have things coming up too, we want to address that and to share with the folks. Let's talk about what's going on. This has been a busy, 24, 48 hours and just really crazy time. Let's start with the horrific situation that happened Friday night in Houston at Astro World. This is Travis Scott's music festival, happened at Energy Field in Houston Friday night. Travis Scott, the rapper, was on stage. A number of people were experiencing distress as a result of the crowd surge. As a result of that, 8 people died, hundreds of people were injured, and now a lot of investigating is going on behalf of so many people, whether it's the city, whether it's a criminal. There are a number of investigations, and Travis Scott has announced today that he will pay for all funerals. He will issue full refunds to those who attended Astro World, and also the lawsuits have started coming in.
Not
What?
surprised by the lawsuits. There's been a lot of people on Instagram and Twitter giving their own accounts of what happened. And according to a lot of these people, there were way more than 8 people that died. They're saying that they saw hundreds of people laid out, passed out, dead, paramedics working on one person. When they couldn't revive them, they would immediately move on to the next. I mean, this is a lot bigger than I
Well,
think
I'm
what's
I'm
being
not sure
reported.
that there are more people that died, Coy, because I think we would have heard about the toll increasing by this point. Don't you?
That's what I would think, but just a lot of the people that are posting their own experiences on Instagram are saying they saw a lot more people that died than the 8 that are being reported. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm pretty sure there was a lot more people that definitely passed out,
Hmm.
that needed medical attention. But it's just interesting to see the difference between what we've seen being reported on the news and what other people are saying.
I mean,
So
what
I'm
people
wondering what the
experienced on the
discrepancy is.
ground that were
Mhm.
there,
Right.
because of the 50,000 people that were there, there are more than that, or in terms of first person reports of what happened. Dominique, I can't imagine um, sending my niece or nephew, my child, off, and the ages of these kids. One 10-year-old who was among the very seriously injured, one 14-year-old boy, a freshman in high school, died. I can't imagine. And I remember going to my first concerts as Michael Jackson and the Jackson Five. I was single digits then, and my
Oh
cousin
goodness.
took me. Yeah, I was
Wow.
I was like 7, maybe
Wow.
6 or 7. And then going to my first concert alone with my friends, I was 14, 15. But I can't imagine not coming home, or being a parent and my child not coming home that night.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
a huge concert though, like
That's
50,000
the other thing.
people.
That's the
That's
other
another
thing.
thing. Like I'm a little bit wary of being in such large crowds because when something happens, my first inclination is how do I get out of
That's
here?
the
That's
way I
that's
think too,
that's it.
Coy.
That's it. And
I
that's
feel that
more
way
people need
too.
to. So
Right.
Dominique, what do you
I even
think
feel
it
that way about where I live. No, no, really. If
Yes.
something goes wrong, do I have easy access to a highway? How do I get out of here?
Oh.
How do I get out quickly? So I even think of that in terms of where I live. But did anybody ever say why the surge started?
Well, apparently this isn't unusual. That they encourage a lot of activity in the audience, and as the concert got underway, people just wanted to they found a way to get closer and closer to the stage. They mosh pits started that way, and then they kind of went away, but the surge itself, actually, Dominique, if you think about it, with the people that were coming into the venue 9 hours earlier. They said they just came in, really strong. They were knocking over the security people. They were hopping over people to get in, and it was quite a scene from the video that I saw of
Mhm.
of this happening. What, around noon?
Did
Right.
you
And there
all
was
hear of any of the reports like that somebody was injecting people with some kind of drug or
That was
something.
that was the
Yes.
other
I
part.
heard a report about
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah. So there is a report, and we had it in the newsletter today, and haven't heard much about it as a result of the other stories that have come out and following the other stories. But there is a report that a security guard got pricked, as they call it, in the
Mm.
neck, and he lost consciousness. They administered Narcan, which is the emergency drug to revive people, usually in the wake of an opioid overdose. He regained consciousness. They did say that they saw something on his neck, and so that is a part of the investigation, that these people who died were perhaps pricked as well. This is something that has happened in other concerts and other events around the world too.
Because
It's
I
just
was
a
wondering if
sick
that was
time,
one of the
man.
reasons that made the surge get so out of hand. Because
Hmm.
if that's happening at this point, you have 50,000 people now that are basically running for their lives at this
Right,
point. Because
right.
you definitely don't want to get stuck if you have people around sticking each other. But it's just too, I just think coming out of a pandemic, I think that's too many people
It
now.
was, and
It's way too many people. People are, we just
yeah,
all over the place.
yeah.
I mean, if you think about the thinking in this country and the way people are reacting, people fighting on airplanes and everything. So we're all over the place. So I just think that environment was not controlled enough from the beginning. I don't think that we're ready to have gatherings of
I agree
50,000
with you.
people like
I
that.
I
agree
wouldn't
with
have
you.
done it before the pandemic. Like, it's just too many
I
people.
know.
Right,
They
right.
said the
That's a
only
lot of
sections were
people.
like VIP sections that had like barricades, but I guess everything else is
But then,
just
but the
stand where you want
barricades,
to.
from what I understand, Coy, the barricades went by the wayside as well.
Yeah.
You know, I thought about this during Lollapalooza in Chicago. I thought that that was the wrong thing to do, and that was expecting 1 million people
Yeah.
in Grant Park, in downtown Chicago. I really disagreed with the mayor and all the other people that said there was like. As it so happened, luckily they did not have that, nor did they have a major outbreak of the coronavirus as a result of this. This was in the summertime, just a couple of months ago. But
And even
this.
if you're going to say, I'm sorry, if you're going to have
Mm-mm.
50,000 people, it has to be somewhere in a controlled
A
environment.
control
You
situation, yeah.
cannot have people just standing
Just
there in just like this festival environment. It just no, that's
These are
not
not
gonna
the days
work.
of Woodstock anymore.
No,
Like,
no.
that's
no, that ain't
over.
ill.
That
Ew.
no. These
But
No.
you know,
people are
Coy,
tripping.
yeah, and this isn't the first time that it's happened at Astro World, and hopefully it will be the last. That there will be some. And I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and he was saying that he felt sorry for Travis Scott, and I said, I'm sorry, I can't. I said, you're a better person than I am. I said, there's too many.
Why?
There are too many stories that have come out. He says that he feels bad with all the lawsuits and everything, and that this has happened to him. And I said, he had too much advanced knowledge about this, you guys. He knew, according to reports, the chief of police was a friend of his. He went to uh, his room, and he said that he told them that things were amped up to such a situation that he needed him to be careful, but he also wanted to make him aware that this was a very volatile situation. Second thing was, they said that they told the Live Nation people what was going on, and they said, "Okay, we'll cut the show short." They did not. Travis did his entire show. As a matter of fact, at one point when he did see something going on, Travis Scott saw something. He stopped. He pointed it out, and then he went back to singing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there was too much there. I'm sorry. He
But
he he seems like a really great guy from the things that he does in the
um
community and everything, but I cannot give him my sympathy at this
And the
point.
sad part about it is that he's a young man
Hmm.
and you have people that work for you. That's the purpose when you're an artist of paying people that travel with you and that handle your business. That's what they're supposed to do.
Hmm.
They're supposed, even if you don't agree with it, of course, as an artist, we have the last say. But
Right.
even if you don't agree with it, somebody is supposed to say, look, this does not look good out the gate.
Right. Look
Let me
over
tell.
there. Look.
Yeah, look over there. Even
Stop.
before you even start. Even I'm talking about in the planning process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody should have said, how many people are going to come? Because 50,000 people is just too many. We just can't have a free for all, everybody coming. Somebody should have told the young dude, even if you have to do multiple shows, you need to go into some kind of stadium when they're not playing sports or something where they can sit down. You have the few people that are close and we can have more control. But in the times that we're in, coming out of a pandemic and people just mashed in together with no rules and regulations, who's vaccinated, who's unvaccinated,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on, is not healthy for them and it's not healthy for us. And it's going to cost you a lot of money. Now,
It's
you
gonna
don't have to
cost.
do it.
It's gonna cost you more than you've lost by not performing
Absolutely.
over the last year and a half.
So in that sense, he has a whole team of people that work with him, and I don't feel sorry for. I feel sorry for the people who were harmed and hurt. But
Absolutely.
Travis Scott, he's an entertainer, and sometimes you have to think uh, forward.
Yeah.
And you have even if they
And
told him
trust.
and trust, even if they told him and he didn't listen, you have to listen and you have to think forward. And it just wasn't a good situation from the
Yeah.
door.
Now you are paying for the funerals of 8 people. Sending your condolences to their families. And you're refunding every attendee's fees for admission, and the cost to whatever happens from here on out, because he's already canceled. They canceled Astro World for the remaining time in Houston, as well as this next event. He's not going to do that as well. And the most important cost is those 8 people that died, young people that died.
Mm-hmm.
On top of now, there's a bunch of conspiracy theories coming out too, so it ain't looking so great for the Travis Scott
And I
camp
Yeah.
mean,
at
it's
all.
like I heard a conspiracy theory that blew my mind when I saw that one. I said, like my grandmother would say, poor Creeder, because they coming for him. I mean, they even talked about the stage. Did anyone notice that the stage was built like a cross heading into hell? I said, uh-oh. When
Yeah.
I heard that one, I
Yeah.
said, ooh,
Yeah.
they are really, it's getting ready to be bad. But
Yeah.
I'm
Let
sorry
me
for the,
let me talk about something that has saved people's lives. If you all
okay.
are aware of the TikTok hand gesture,
Now, what's
Nah.
that?
are you aware of the TikTok? So apparently during the pandemic, we know about the stories who were experiencing domestic abuse and other things that were going on in their homes, and they weren't able to tell anyone because they were in these closed circumstances with people. So they developed this hand gesture. You take your hand
Mm-hmm.
like this, you put your thumb in, and then you close it over your thumb. You close your fingers over your thumb, and this is to give a notice to people that help, please call 911. Well, a
What?
young woman who was being held against her will in a car passed by a truck driver, saw this, and he called 911 and perhaps saved her life. This
Wow.
is being called the TikTok hand gesture. It involves tucking the thumb in over the open palm, crossing the 4 other fingers over the thumb. And it was developed to help domestic violence survivors. The driver of the truck spotted the distressed teenager in a car on I 75 last week. The complainant was behind the vehicle, noticed a female passenger in the vehicle making the hand gestures, and the signal for help gesture has saved this woman's life. And
So it's
apparently,
like this.
this,
Okay.
so you take your thumb, close your fingers over your thumb.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if you are in
Got a
trouble and
big
you're in a
hand.
car or you're somewhere else, do this, and hopefully someone will see it and recognize it as your call for help.
Mm,
How incredible is this, that,
that's
for
great.
all of the things that we talk about social media and what it does and does not do for us, and and how our kids are all caught up in this, but this is something that someone had the wherewithal, the peace of mind, to say this, do this, and we'll know and pass it on. And now it's helping countless other people who are caught in a situation not of their own making,
That's great.
isn't it? I
That's
thought so too.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that is really good. Okay, Dominique, we don't have enough time to talk about it, but I really want to talk at some point with you about your boy Aaron Rodgers. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Because we do have to move on, but this thing is crazy, Dominique, and not okay. I'm gonna say this much. No, I can't. No, we're out of time. Okay, so I promise, if we can come back to it, I really do want to talk to you about
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers and how other people are complicit in his lying.
Absolutely.
And so we'll talk about that. This is Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. I say that as a Bears fan.
Green Bay
And
Packers.
yeah, yeah. And so we'll talk about that. All right. So let's move to what's really going on, especially in our heads and things that most of these conversations that we start in this segment, what's really going on, start in my head. And, and so, with the help of others to come up with some questions. And so this is the season for the major marathons and the return. A number of cities are back in the marathon business after they've been canceled during the pandemic, of course. Recently, New York City held its 50th marathon, and a number of people participated in their first marathon, including former first daughter Chelsea Clinton. She said this was a goal of hers. And so she was among those, as well as I'm a big fan of Willie Geist, who was on Morning Joe and as well as Sunday Today
Yeah.
host. He also ran his first marathon and took on the challenge. So obviously running your first marathon is a tremendous challenge. I don't care if you have all of your physical attributes working or if you're in a wheelchair or whatever. It's a tremendous challenge. So is there one or more challenges you have considered taking on? Now it doesn't have to be a physical challenge. It could be, I remember a few years ago, uh, the woman that created Grey's Anatomy, Shonda Rhimes, she said this is going to be the year of yes. And so she was challenged to say yes to everything, to get herself out there and, to do these things that she normally would be reticent to do. So think about this, ladies. And I want the other people who are listening to us today, think about this. What are those challenges that you consider taking on? Like I have a challenge of timeliness and and being organized. Those are my biggest challenges, and I'm working on that. Like I can't even get on camera early enough for our executive producer. And so, because the time gets, it just, I'm telling you, when I get into the hour before the show starts, the time is just going like this.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so you understand. And then all I hear in my head is, somebody yelling, why can't you, if we can be considerate of your time, why can't you be considerate of our time? So that's my challenge. That's just one thing. Another challenge is, my diet and things like that. Dominique, I'll tell you why I thought about you for this question is because I watched you on social media climbing hills and mountains. I think
Right.
that is a tremendous challenge.
And that's what I was going to say. So it's going to get, so those are the things that I'm doing now. I have a cousin, and my cousin he hikes with a hiking group,
Hmm.
but they really go up really, really mountains where you need poles and all of those things. So I'm doing it for health purposes as well, to stay healthy as well and to exercise myself. But I'm also doing it to get prepared because one of my challenges that's coming up over the Christmas holidays is I'm going to hike with my cousin. So these hikes are like 12 miles and 15 miles and those things. So
And up.
and up, yes, up. And that's one of my challenges. And also bread. Cheese, bread. I mean, it's just like sometimes I think in the store they should have bread like they have your in the vault, like at the bank. And when you come by, ask you questions and ask, do you really want to do this today? And you might have, if you don't see it just out there and smell it, maybe you can walk away and leave it there.
Uh-huh.
They should say, okay, you said these are your goals, and are you sure you want me to open this vault and go get this bread? And you can say, hell yeah, go get the bread. Or you can say, you know what, I appreciate your effort, and I'm gonna just go ahead and check out. So
So
I
I
work with, oh
understand
God.
because I have a sweet tooth, but I also understand the love of bread. I love good bread, but I have had to force myself not to eat the bread, like especially when you go into a restaurant, because I don't want to take away from the rest of the meal. I have a dining companion who understands this challenge and has challenged herself, and yet you get her started. And once you get started, as Shaka
You
said,
can't stop.
mm-mm.
And I really have a love-hate relationship with bread. I
Mm-hmm.
can go for a while, right? Like just for weeks and like no bread. And then all of a sudden the bread be like, but you still love me. Like, I don't care who you with, you still love me.
Right. I don't care how
And that's
skinny you think you are, how
you
well you
come
think you're
on with it.
doing. Come
And
on.
then one Friday I'll be like, this my cheat day. And then it's on a crackhead tangent like I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? I fell off the wagon. It's like she did good. She done fell all the way off. Last time I saw her, she was on MLK dancing to no music.
Oh no,
Fell
no
off
music.
music. Just out there getting it. Wasn't even no music on. Just getting it.
So that's the question. And that's what we're asking people for. What are those challenges that you have that you want to take on? It may not be running a marathon, it may not be a triathlon, it may be just a good walk around the block, walking up the hills of your neighborhood, where whatever it is, like Dominique is doing, and she's going to take on the challenge of climbing with her cousin. And you, young Coy, what about you? I can't imagine you have any challenges.
I do,
Kidding.
and this one is a little more personal that we don't really talk about. I would say a lot in our community, in our relationships. A lot of them hit the challenge of understanding each other and communication.
Ooh.
You hit a point in every relationship is like that, where it's almost like it's a power struggle, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's trying to assert their side and and be heard and things like that. You could be a great communicator. It's just when you get on to into an intimate level with someone, it can start to seem like things are being forced or misunderstood, and it's actually not. So I'm
Yeah.
challenging myself
Mm.
to understand my partner better and find different ways to communicate so we don't have any misunderstandings. A lot of it I think is just things that we kind of just we're so focused on our side and not
Mm-hmm.
seeing the other person's side. And then there could be flaws that, each of us have that haven't been exposed before because, we're older. This is a more mature relationship. This isn't like
Mm.
a high school relationship, middle school relationship, or college relationship. We're grown now.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a challenge I see that a lot of people fail. And that's why a lot of relationships end either early or even why some marriages end because of communication challenges. And it's something that can actually be resolved.
Mm-hmm. What about the challenge of moving on?
The challenge of moving on. I think I've
Leaving.
mastered that
Okay.
growing up. I think I've mastered that. There's so many different things that I've been, disappointed with and things that I've had to let go of at an early age and things that I've had to be responsible of at an early age that caused me to see that yes, time is very valuable, but I cannot spend my time being worried on things that are out of my control and things that I can get up and do something about. So I'm not really I don't think
have you
that's
have
a
you reached a point though? And my mom was an example of this, and I told this story before. My mother was married 4 times, and the greatest thing she used to say is that's why God made erasers, because at some point you realize you're just doing the same stuff, and you're trying, and you find yourself in the same situation, and no matter how hard you try, you're not feeling the reciprocation. So if you're not feeling that, if you're feeling that your partner is, I'm no marriage counselor, trust me on this, but I'm just saying as a friend, um, there's just a point where you realize that you're giving and giving and working on these challenges, and you're not getting in response.
Well, I think the thing that a lot of people tend to miss is you lean on your own understanding and how you understand things work and the best situations or whatever that you could come up with, but you don't quite understand how the other person thinks of these things and comes up with these things.
Because
So
that's impossible sometimes to get in their heads.
exactly. So you have to literally sit down and talk and figure out the things that resonates with your partner and not just the things that resonate with you. And I think that's where a lot of the challenge continues, or where
Hmm.
people say, I'm doing this, and that, it's not working, or I'm doing the same thing over and over and over because you're only going off of what you understand and resonates with you and not with what the other person understands or resonates. If
Yeah.
you're willing to understand the other person, and if the other person is willing to help you understand them, then that solution can be reached.
Is your partner willing to understand you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Do
'Cause
you like your partner?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I mean, a lot of times people don't realize.
I think that's a legitimate question.
Yeah, a lot of times people don't realize the communication breaking down. Because deep down inside, if I really get down to it, I don't like you. You know what I'm saying?
Because you do grow to not like them. I mean,
you will, or even
you may love
sometimes
them.
once
you can grow to not like certain things about them. I get it, but I think a lot of stuff that I'm starting to see, and I'm seeing this with other people, is just some things that we have going on with ourselves that we haven't dealt with, or we thought we dealt with, and now it comes out in a relationship, and it's like, whoa, I thought I was perfect. I'm not.
Surprise!
Yeah.
And a part of that too is recognizing, within yourself and getting some professional help for both of you or one of you or whatever. But that's a part of it too. That's another challenge. That's another big challenge for people, whether you will seek professional help for something. Because everybody's like, oh, I don't need a psychiatrist. I don't need a psychologist. All I need to do is pray this away. Whether it's a physical, a mental,
It's hard to look at yourself.
It is.
Her spouses will definitely tell you things about yourself, and you're like, oh, damn.
Well,
okay. It's not even like you can really deny it.
Right.
Because if you listen, you like, yeah, that might be, it's a possibility that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't want to. Go ahead, Coy.
I was just going to say, it just comes to a point where you got to stop, excusing what you're doing, even if you have a valid reason for it. If it's not helping the situation, if it doesn't sit well with your partner, then there's something that needs to be adjusted.
And if you're making those adjustments and you feel though you're progressing in this, then more power to you. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's been my biggest challenge.
Well, I think here's the
latest,
thing.
I would say.
I think that is very adult of you.
It is cool
to come forth and share that challenge. I mean, I think that whatever health challenges we have, whatever diet, food, alcohol, whatever it is, those challenges. But when you talk about your physical and your but also your mental and your spiritual, that's taking it to another level, I think.
Yeah, because you're used to who you are. You've been who you are, since you set foot on. Right, exactly.
Right.
Since I've been here.
Right.
This is cool. It's always work. But that might not be the case when you have somebody that is like your mirror, that's literally saying, hey, this is what you're doing. They're saying it in their own way. You don't understand that. Find understanding between you two.
And you are in a period of, this is really a metamorphosis for you. You are in a period of tremendous change. I don't mean to sound like your astrological report, but it is a period of tremendous change for you. And so the fact that you are open to the change and recognizing it both in your circumstances and within yourself, I think that's big. I think that's pretty major.
That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. So other than that, because you don't have any physical challenges. You don't have.
I do.
What?
I would like to challenge myself to getting back into like gymnastics, but more of like.
You mean like Simone Biles kind of gymnastics?
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes. Okay. I've been saying this
That's
for about 5-6 years now, that I would get back into a tumbling class, get back into learning how to flip, doing no-handed cartwheels and backhand.
Were you able to do that as a youngster?
Yeah, when I was super young, but fear set in, and I just I do this move we used to call it Oreos, where you just kind of just fall over like a cookie when you're standing up.
Yep.
So it's so scary. So I know I have to go and work with a trainer that will help me spot, help me understand where to plant my hands and things like that. And don't get
somebody
so scared
who'll tell you you're too damn old to do it. I'm just I'm kidding.
I can do this. I feel like I can do this.
I always loved gymnastics. I couldn't even do a cartwheel. Oh, my cartwheels, my knees was bent when I flipped over. They like, that's not right. I was like, well, that's all I can do.
And
I
mine was
guess
trusting myself. Mine was always in trusting myself, to do that and to
now
to
some of it I can do, but a flip, it's just it ain't in me. I can get on. I can still get on the uneven bars,
Mhm.
no problem. The balance beam, somewhat, but when it comes to flipping, that.
No, not so much, huh? All right, ladies. Dora Levette Tiggs on Facebook said, "Don't do it, Coy. Broken bones are hard to mend after a
Ooh.
certain age."
I rebuke that energy.
But Dora, I
I'm
would
gonna be on
challenge
Max,
you. I would
Dora.
challenge you to tell us what your challenge is. I mean, it's really good that we're telling Coy, be careful. But what are those things that we're thinking about or that we need to consider in terms of our challenges? While you're thinking about that, Dora, let's move on to what you need to know into the newsletter. This is, of course, our opportunity to talk to folks about things that are pertaining to the African American community as we are in the midst of all of these things that are going on, perhaps not to us, but amongst us. And Travis Scott's situation is one thing that I think about. The victims of that weren't necessarily black, but they were brown and they were white people. And Travis Scott is getting a lot of heat. And so we talk about that story in the newsletter. But I do want to start off by talking about Coy's story, which is really fascinating and frightening. Once again, another frightening situation. But this is an autistic teen who has been rescued after he was taken away by a man he met playing on his PlayStation. What the
Yes,
what?
this is a parent's worst nightmare. I don't care what kind of child you have. This is a parent's worst nightmare. So there's a 16-year-old black autistic teen named Jahan Fuller who was lured away by a 26-year-old man named Mark Valente, who was using a messaging app on the PlayStation platform. He pretty much convinced this teenager that his parents didn't love him anymore and they would sell him for $2. This man drove over 14 hours and more than 900 miles to Douglasville, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta, and then drove the two back to Eastchester, New York, which is about 20 miles north of Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
He threw away the teen's phone. He bought him a new one. He ordered him clothes online. They made trips to a local supermarket, and they spent a lot of time playing video games. It wasn't until it was about 4 a.m. in the morning, the day that he disappeared, that his dad woke up, looked around, and saw that he was not there. Investigators used like a lot of different tactics to try to track down this teenager, including a strange Instagram message he sent to his brother saying that he had saved up some money. He was going to go find a job out west for his parents not to worry about him, and that he was looking for easier work, but he's never had a job. So, his brother was like, okay, what's going on? So the FBI ended up tracking Jahan to this man's house.
So were they able to track through the phone that the guy threw away?
They tracked it through the phone. They tracked it through the Instagram message that he sent from the new phone. And I'm guessing they just used the technology and the towers to ping the signal and find out the location. So the man told him to hide in a closet when the FBI showed up, and that's where they found him. He was found unharmed, which is great news. He was returned home. It's just like, how does this happen? His mom said that they monitor his online usage, but she's cautioning parents to be more wary. And my thing is just, I don't care how much it bothers your child. Go
It doesn't
through
matter.
every message on their phone, on their tablets,
and
on their
that
PlayStation,
the kid,
whatever.
Yeah, the kid plays on the PlayStation, but you don't think in terms of the messaging part of the game or the unit itself or whatever it is you're looking for. And here's the other thing. I think in your story you also said that he has a mental capacity of a 10 or 11-year-old, something along that. Did I read that?
Yes, has the mental capacity of a 10-year-old, according to his parents. And here's another thing. I don't think this was published in the story, but from my research, when they went to go and look through his messages on PlayStation, they were all deleted.
So this guy not
What?
only got into their home to get this kid, probably, or outside, but instructed him how to get rid of all the messages.
Yep, and then probably told him what to say, and he
Oh
had
yeah, for
convinced him that
sure.
he was his friend. And after a while, the teenager was like, he realized like this is not my friend, and he said he felt a lot better being at home. So now the
Mm,
family is seeking counseling for
yeah,
the mental trauma that
everybody.
they have suffered.
Everybody's got to be in
Mm.
there. Yeah. Oh wow. That's an incredible story, and I know
Right.
that when you do the social justice stories, it's a lot, and it can be very taxing on you. But God bless you for doing it.
Yes.
I just know that there are so many stories that you're like, not another one. I feel like that with
Yeah.
when we're covering the trials now of the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. We're covering the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, and the role that racism plays in these trials and things like that, and classism and things. It's a lot. So thank you for doing the good work,
It's
and
a lot.
we appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you get a pass with your both boyfriend too. Um, be nice to her. She got a lot on her. Um, so, as I mentioned, the top story in the newsletter is about mourning the loss of those 8 young people and the hundreds of others that were injured in this. And we'll keep following this because, as I said, the lawsuits are now coming in, and I don't think it was like 24 hours before the first lawsuit was announced, and now others. And our friend Ben Crump is in there, and he's going to be representing someone or some people in their lawsuits against this. But there's just a lot. There's just so much to this case, and it's going to have, I think, and I could be wrong, and I could be very naive in this night. Dominique, but I think that this is going to have a far-reaching effect on entertainers and those kind of engagements with with the raves and the surges that are a result of getting people involved and bringing them closer to you and falling out in the mosh pit and on from the stage and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff that has changed over the years. But I think
it's gonna
this
have to.
is going to
It's
be
gonna
far
have to.
ranging.
It's gonna just be in a more controlled environment. You're
Hmm.
gonna have to have a seat. It's okay if you stand in front of your seat and dance and enjoy the concert, but you're gonna have to have a seat because no, everybody is just like out of control. Nobody's really thinking about the next man like that.
Hmm.
So in those kind of environments, it needs to be controlled.
Yeah,
You
and
cannot just have a festival,
yeah, and better
even
security too.
and better security. Even the shows that we do, the comedy shows, and thank God and thank everybody for still supporting live comedy. Because I was scared for a minute, said
Hmm.
McCoy. I said, Lord, I'm gonna have to learn how to type. After all these years, I applied for my typing job during the pandemic. How many words are you type, ma'am? I'm probably around 2 words. I can do 2 words. I'm working on it. I'll be it's Monday. By Friday, I'll be the 4. You know, I'm getting it. Give a sister a chance. I was doing comedy. I didn't see this coming. I was doing comedy.
Right,
So
right.
it's still a very controlled environment,
Hmm.
from the access to the backstage. Of course, the audience is there not right up on you. Even in the club,
Yeah.
you still can go to them and say, okay, I've been in the room and I think they're too close to me. I need you to
Right.
move the tables back just a little bit so I feel like I have a little space. We are in very strange and different times. Things are not the same, and we have to deal with things differently. I know everybody wants to go back to 2019
Mm-mm.
before the pandemic, but we're just not there.
Right.
So
Not yet.
because we're not yet. We're not there yet. So we still have to operate as a country and as a people that are rebounding from what happened in 2020.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And if we don't do that, we'll continue to see these kinds of things.
Right.
And I know people want to make money, and I know these artists,
Of
They,
course.
they need to make money. They had these high overhead. You got all this
Mm-hmm.
overhead, and then you won't go to
Baby
work for a
mamas
whole,
and
all these
all.
things.
They don't own the rights to their music.
They don't
Right?
own the rights to the music, so
Masters.
they make. Come on, Coy. So they making all their money on the road.
Yeah.
People don't think about those things, but you still have to do it in a safe way. You know what I mean?
I also wonder how the ancillary people, not ancillary, but the other people on the show are going to be affected by this because I think it was it SZA that was on the bill with them, and she came out and said, I am so sorry, and giving her thoughts on what had happened. But Drake was backstage. He came out on stage as all of this was going on and performing with Travis. And so I'm wondering, will he be culpable in any of this? Which is another question that I had. But Coy, I wanted to ask you, um,
Probably not.
in terms of performing, had you ever had fears of this? Being in the face and close up to people about getting too close or whatever.
Yeah, there's been some venues where I have performed and it didn't really seem like the stage was that stable. Some of these places they're just so interested in having an artist there and building something that looks like a catwalk, but as soon as you step onto it, it's very, very, very unstable.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have instances like another Jackson State story. So when I was in the band
Mhm.
at Jackson State, playing
When I was a Blue Tiger.
yeah. When I marched in the Sonic Boom of the South, which is the greatest band ever,
Okay.
on saxophone, on tenor sax, there is a part of the band that we march through the percussion section and then we march into the stands and we pass actual spectators that are in the stands. They don't have them like roped off or back or
Mhm.
anything like that. And I mean, these people are yelling, they got pom poms, they hitting us in the face. I'm like, I'm supposed to march through this?
And you're supposed to be playing your instrument and stepping and doing all and keeping time and all of that stuff.
Concentrating and I'm hitting corners and I still got to hit all my moves. And I'm like, yo, we got to go through this. So, like, people don't really understand what it's like to be a performer and then have a big crowd that is very hyped to see you excited. Like, you don't understand the lengths that people will go through to express that excitement
Mhm.
in the moment.
Wow.
So there's definitely been some concerns. I've never fallen off stage, knock on wood. I won't ever fall off stage for any
Right.
performances. I haven't been injured. However, I have seen some injuries and things that have happened just because of the pressure to perform, and then also people that are spectating involving themselves in the actual show.
Yeah.
It happens.
I just, just with us with the sky shows and stuff, I've been on stage where it did not feel very secure, and we had to, keep people moving because everybody wants to be on stage with Tom and the musicians and all the various acts and stuff, Tom. But you have to kind of escort people on and off, but
Yeah.
not to that kind of frenzy and that we saw over this Friday night
Unless
in
you're
Houston.
in the strip club, and I will say,
Yes,
yes, we would have security kind of
uh-huh.
around the stage and stuff like that, and they gave us a little bit of leeway. And I have not been above pushing someone like, "Hey, get back." I've even grabbed cell phones out of people's hands, snap. Like, no, you're not about to record me while I'm up here dancing like this. Like, you didn't ask for permission. That's pretty much been the extent of it.
But that's pretty major.
It is. It is.
But
I had
you
a
do.
dancer friend that slapped somebody one time. I was like, oh God.
Wow, that's pretty badass, I gotta say.
It
You
is.
have to tell people to get out your space though, because sometimes you like, why you too close in my face?
Mhm.
And I do understand that sometimes people, when they support you and those kinds of things, they do feel like they know you
Yeah.
because they've known you for a while.
Right.
But you still have to understand we all are human.
Yeah.
And you know what's going on. We just getting back in here. Back up when you start a spread or something and
Yeah.
it gets shut back down. You
I had
too
a woman,
close.
who didn't even know who I was when I went to a comedy show a few weeks ago, and she said, "Who are you again?" And she wanted to take a picture. I took a picture. She said, "Will you take your mask off?" And I was like, "Okay." So I took my mask off, and then she turned right in my face before I could
Yeah.
put my mask on. I was like, "Oh God." So let me give you one last story before we go. This week is Veterans Day. But every day should be Veterans Day. We should be saluting our veterans, those who have saved our country, have performed and acted in such chivalrous and heroic ways, both in war and in peacetime. Veterans Day has a number of specials, namely food, restaurants. You get a lot of deals going on, not only just on the day itself, but for some of them, it's absolutely through the month of November into December, that kind of thing. So we want to salute our veterans and go to the What You Need to Know newsletter and click on the links, and you can find out those companies and restaurants and businesses that are giving you a break that you so richly deserve today. And last thing is, we also always have health and fitness in our newsletter. Please, please, please take a look at the things that they are. Everything is everyone works very hard on their pieces, but definitely in terms of health and wellness, that is, as we've been talking about, that is something that is very important to us here on the What You Need to Know staff and on It's Sybil. We want to check in and check up on everybody, and that is our going to be one of our main focus as we go through the remainder of this year into next year. So get on board. We used to have take a loved one to the doctor. Now we are checking in and checking up on everybody. So
Hmm.
mentally, physically, all of that stuff. We're checking in and checking up. All right. So, ladies, let us thank you for talking about the newsletter. Go to SybilWilkes.com if you'd like to subscribe. It's absolutely free. And as I like to tell you, we're up on that season, and it makes a great gift. So, entertainment. I came across this story, and God bless Nick Cannon. I absolutely adore him. He is one of the most talented fellows around. Now he has his own talk show, adding to the other things, but now is a seven-time dad, adding in the family department. Is he looking for another baby mama? Apparently, he weighed in on Twitter when Saweetie noted that she's ready to have children. The 28-year-old rapper who has, she split from Quavo after 3 years this year, and she tweeted, "I want some babies." Cannon, as I mentioned, the father of seven, retweeted the post with a series of emojis: a thinking face, a ninja, a laughing emoji, and a man raising his hand. What does that say to you, ladies? What does that say to you?
How do you say her name? Saweetie?
I always say
How
Saweetie.
you say it, Coy?
I
Saweetie?
say Saweetie.
Saweetie. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna have a, he might be down for it. See, if you're gonna have a baby, at least he can take care of the kids.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
at least he's in a position. If he have 12, he can give all 12 of them a good life. So, and from what I hear, he's a great dad.
Yeah,
So
that's what everyone
it,
says.
yeah, it
He
wouldn't.
says he thinks he's misunderstood. He said this on his talk show. Uh, she said she wants some babies, and I just replied with some emojis. As an expert in babies, anyone who can speak emoji knows what that says. This is what it actually says: take time for making such a big decision. That's what I was trying to say. That didn't sound like it.
In Braille? Like, what are you talking
Right?
about?
Right? Right? So
I think he was just making a joke. So
I do
It
too.
could be.
I just don't want people to take advantage of Nick, and but he's a grown a man, and he said when people see him,
Shit,
they
he
say he.
not getting taken advantage of. He is in full control.
Oh, Dora Levette Tiggs, you still haven't talked about your challenges, but she's on Facebook. She says, "I love Nick Cannon too, Sybil. Although I don't have a clue the young lady you're speaking about. She's a rapper, and she's a young, and she's like in her 20s.
she got some
And
catchy songs too.
I'm sorry.
She has some catchy songs
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
What?
yeah.
See, I don't know any of her songs. Like I'll just see
Ah,
scrolling. When you see the new artists and stuff, you feel so old. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew who Travis Scott was only because of the Kardashian connection.
mhm, mhm.
Other than that, I probably wouldn't have known who he was. Now I saw Weedy on something else, but I don't know her music.
Do we know her from one of the reality shows too? Did we see her on?
I'm not
I'm
sure
not
about
sure.
that.
I'm not sure.
We
Um,
can't ask Coy because Coy is the old lady for real. She's just
she
in the
she's
young lady's body, you know
yeah,
what
yeah,
I mean?
she's older than you and I are in some
Yeah,
ways.
she in our age range.
She's a
She is
very
a
old soul.
Coy. What about we asked Coy? Well, Coy, how you say it? Sweetie, sweet. I don't know. I call her Sweetie. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard.
All
I
right.
don't know a
So
lot of the young
as
ones.
we wrap up here, Dom, give people your social media information so we can stay in touch with you.
It's my name, Dominique, Dominique, comedy, Comedi. I spell comedy with an I. Some people call it comedy. Sibby Sib calls it comedy. So that's on all my platforms, and on Facebook is Dominique Comedian, Comedienne.
So and here's the thing about Dominique, like you, Coy, you guys have your hands in a lot of different things. Dom's talking earlier about her comedy dates and everything, but we should also look for you on television, in movies. Every time I try to get you on the show, you're on a table read or you're doing a favor for somebody regarding a project and something. You always are. So we just have to keep an eye on your social media
Yeah,
to
different.
find
Yeah,
out.
keep it out, please do, because I'll post everything that I'm doing. I'm doing some voiceovers and some film working, different stuff. Just doing entertainer stuff.
Just entertainer stuff.
Yeah, just entertainer stuff.
And young Coy, where are you? What are you doing these days?
These days I'm still, on and off of set with different productions.
So Coy, you told us about what was one of the BET shows that we should look for you on? It was
was
like
it
one of the episodes.
was it bigger? No.
No, maybe it was.
I
Was
know
it?
that was BT Plus.
Yeah.
P
It was,
Valley, but that's on Stars.
no, there was.
Mhm.
Oh gosh, I
Coy,
forgot.
you on P Valley?
Yes. So this season I
You
was one
were.
of the newest main characters, stunt doubles. Pole
So
stunt
the new
doubles, yes.
season came on.
Not yet. Not yet. We're
Oh,
still
it's
filming.
coming. Okay.
But there
Yes.
was something
I
I don't
love
know.
P
I don't know if
Valley.
Yolanda or Chica can remember, but I do remember us having a conversation, and you were like, "Oh, I'm going to
Um,
be on." It was the Wonder Years.
oh, Wonder Years, yes.
It was the
I do
Wonder
so much stuff I
Years.
forget. I was about to go through the whole resume until we got to that. And that was not at the top.
And you were talking about wearing the clothes from the 70s, 60s. It was
Oh
the 60s.
goodness. Yes. So they had us wearing the clothes from that time frame on down to the hills. And I'm like, how do people march and chant "We shall overcome" like this? Like, I have a whole nother level of
Right.
respect for people that actually march for the civil rights. If you look closely on the videos, everybody was dressed to the
The
nines. Like, they
Yeah.
looked very
Absolutely.
presentable. And they
Yeah.
were also fashion forward. And they
Yeah.
did this in the face of the man getting beaten, water
Mhm.
hose. Dang, they feet hurt. I know
Right.
it did.
Right.
Woo.
Before we close, I do want to, and this is for all of us, Yogi's Jewel this week, talking about respite. And respite, giving the definition, a short period of rest or relief from something difficult or unpleasant. Take one. I'm looking at both of you. Yes, I am. And looking at myself. So take one. Take it easy on yourselves. Dominique, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Coy,
Thank
thank
you,
you as
Sibby
always.
Sib.
Love you.
It's
And
always a pleasure. Good
be
seeing you,
good
Coy.
and be safe on the
You
road, Dom.
too.
We'll see you all
Thank you,
later.
Sibby Sib.
Aloha.
Okay, bye-bye.